på den här är olika höga.
All right, so then...
Den...
Now we're gonna check out Trump at enemy territory. CNN town hall.
He very well could be re-elected president of the United States, that we should not just assume that there's no way we would do this again as a country, right? There is very much a way when I look at these polls because of that dissatisfaction we see with President Biden. And so I think the more interesting question
wonder
is
why.
when I look
President
at these polls,
Biden.
they actually remind
Doesn't
me a little bit, if
ring
you look at the
good.
favorables
Right?
in 1992, Americans going, I don't know about this Bill Clinton guy, I'm not really sure about George H.W. Bush. What about a third party?
It's
I
like
don't think
that
that's likely,
movie,
but
what is it,
Americans
Gladiator?
are not loving what they think of as this
And the fake
rematch
king.
of the lesser of two
Yeah.
evils.
Which is a
Takes
fascinating
over.
Yeah.
question mark to hit pause on our panel with. Thank you all so much, and let's send it back to you, Wolf.
All right, Aaron, and we're back with our panel here in Washington right before the town hall.
You know, this is the
about to
only way
begin.
that
Joe
CNN can
Zeleny,
get some
what does Trump
numbers,
need
you
to
know?
accomplish, at this
Trump.
town hall that begins just
Who the
what, 5
hell
minutes or so
watches
from
this
now?
shit
Look,
otherwise?
I think that the voting does not begin in this primary for at least 7 months. So the primary will not be decided tonight. But he does need to remind New Hampshire voters who are very important that he's presidential and he has a command over things. We are not going to see a different Donald Trump. At 76 years old, been president.
We don't
once.
want
Oh,
to see
no,
it.
I...
We don't want to see a
no,
different...
no, we don't want
Who
to.
the fuck wants a different Donald Trump? We want him exactly as he is and more.
Yeah.
We want him even worse.
He can sort of change how he's running this campaign.
It's
So
not
I do
about
think
a question about
it'll be
one.
interesting to
It's
see
what
how
that
much
we
he uses
need.
this as an
That too.
opportunity to
Yeah.
try and reach out
Desperately.
and expand his
Fuck
base.
yeah.
Because Republicans want to see a winner. So do we see a slightly new and improved version of him?
He's the biggest
or an older
winner
version?
you can
That's what we'll
find,
see.
man.
But we should remember, this is the beginning of the Republican primary. It's not the end.
A lot of Republicans want him to strike, Jonah, a more balanced tone. Is he capable of that?
Yeah, a lot of
Who the fuck
professional
wants
Republicans
that?
would like them to strike a more balanced tone. His super fans want
Yeah,
him to be
but that's, you know,
Donald
how
Trump.
you say it.
And I think part of the problem.
No, you know what I think it is?
No.
I think that this is a tactic. They want to make everybody believe that everybody wants a toned down Trump because they want to weaken him in some way. You know, they want him to be lesser than he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course, but they want to tone down the whole society.
Exactly.
You cannot be angry anymore. You cannot be
Exactly.
outrageous.
Fuck
Yeah.
no. Most
More
people,
outrageous you can
the
be.
majority, wants him like he is and more.
challenge of it, trying to reach out to this broader coalition.
You don't
to
want
reach out
this
to the
fake
sector is-
bullshit.
The primaries haven't started yet, and if one of the things that he's rumored to believe is that abortion is a loser for Republicans, if he starts talking about how abortion is not a priority, all that kind of stuff, it could cost him severely among parts of the coalition that just do not want to hear that.
Yeah, important point. Jamie, what are
Cost
the
him. They
most
talk as if
important
there
points
is,
you're gonna be looking for?
Like,
I'm curious to see
After
whether their
this,
discipline is not
the
his
country
strong
is
suit.
over
Does
if
he
Trump
get
doesn't get in.
triggered by
They're
some of
talking
this?
as if
I'm also
there will be
curious,
other
sort of from the
candidates
special
for other
counsel's
presidential
point of view.
races.
He is under investigation, credible investigation.
Credible. She had to throw that in.
He's
It's
gonna,
credible.
I assume, be asked about those, and those, lawyers, those prosecutors are going to be listening. So I'm curious how he handles that.
I assume, Lori, you're
Sure
going to be
you
listening
are.
closely to how he responds to the legal challenges he's now facing.
Or if he chooses not to respond and tries to punt and says something like, well, my lawyer is telling me I can't talk about this, which frankly would not be satisfactory given the breadth of legal challenges against him. But I will say
Well,
this.
I know one of
fucking
another
rats.
family
Civics
that
lesson.
should
Remember,
talk
the
more about
president
what
is the
they're
head of the
accused of, but
executive
they
branch of
don't.
government,
Yeah.
Which means
No
their
one's
job is to
asking
enforce
either.
the laws. He has to address the fact that he has a number of legal claims that are either
doesn't have to
pending,
do shit.
indicted, or perhaps forthcoming. How does he convince any base, any potential party to make a broader
Easy.
tent that he could serve as the head of the executive branch to enforce the law and have
He
all of
already
these
proved he
matters
can
against
serve
him?
better than
How does he
almost
deal with
everybody.
this latest legal disaster he faced yesterday?
Well, look, we saw he was
got the best
defiant when
resume.
he came out, so I certainly don't think he'll change his tune on that. But I can't imagine that he wants to dwell on that because politically speaking, it is a loser. Some of these other issues he's had have rallied his base around him. Some of his closest advisors that I've been talking to over the last couple of days, they do not think that this is a winner for him. So my guess is he is not going
Not
to
really.
try and
I
dwell
wonder who they
too
are.
much on that because this simply is not a winning issue for him. But of course, he'll be asked hard questions about this and so many other things. There's so many questions to talk to him about.
What's the most important thing you're going to be looking for?
The exits. No.
Truth.
The exits.
Some people have Trump fatigue. I have Trump Epstein Barr. The prospect of doing another
Trump
4 years of this
fatigue.
really just. I'm looking for a way out.
Bunch of geeks.
And you hear that from voters a lot, the exhaustion out there about this. So, and sort of sick of the drama of him. So we'll see how much he brings of that.
You sick of the
Pick
drama?
up the drama. That's what's bringing you views.
I don't need that. I'm not.
Right?
even gonna
Why
go
would
there.
you otherwise have him on
I'm
CNN?
curious
It's
about
ridiculous.
2 other things. How much does he try to hit Biden? How much does he try to hit?
He don't need to
other
hit Biden.
Republicans
Biden
like
hits himself.
DeSantis?
Yeah. Right?
I'm also curious. Words have consequences. We
they
saw
do.
that on January 6th. I'm very curious to see whether, and I use the word measured in the broadest sense, but whether he is sort of stays away from that kind of language.
An important night here in the United States. We're watching it very, very closely. And to our viewers, thanks very much for joining us. CNN's Republican Presidential Town Hall.
He looks like
with
a
Donald
camel
Trump
owl.
starts
Camel
Right now.
owl.
Yeah, it's a mix between a camel and an owl.
That's nice.
Camel owl. Communist News Network.
Right?
The Dawn.
Good evening.
All right,
Welcome to
let's
New
go.
Hampshire, the first GOP primary state.
Flex Sports.
We're live here at St. Anselm College for CNN's Town Hall with former President Donald Trump. I'm Caitlin Collins. Tonight, President Trump is here as he embarks on a campaign unlike any other
that a
in the
dude?
history of U.S. presidential
They are saying
elections.
that.
He's
People
the
are
first
saying that
former
this is
my
the
president in
first
more than
thought
a
was
century
that.
to seek a return to the White
Who
House.
knows these
and he
days?
is currently leading
Right?
the Republican field while also facing multiple criminal
seen her before.
investigations and an indictment.
I've seen her,
Just
okay.
yesterday,
Or
he was
him
held
or her or
liable for
whatever it
sexual
is.
abuse and defamation. No
Don't watch
questions are
CNN
off the
that much.
table, and we agreed to
No
but I've-
questions are off
We're here
the
to give
table.
voters the answers
All right?
that they deserve. Our audience is made up of Republicans and undeclared voters who plan to take part in New Hampshire's Republican primary. They'll get the chance to question the former president directly. These voters and the issues that they care about the most will help decide if former President Trump will get a second chance to take on President Joe Biden. Please welcome the frontrunner for the Republican nomination, former President Donald Trump.
Thief in office. Biden, that is. Standing ovation.
Standing ovation.
That's
Good.
interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here tonight. We got quite a crowd. President Trump, thank you for your time here tonight. We got a great crowd here in New Hampshire, a lot of
Gonna
voters
find a bigger share?
with a lot of questions about what your 2024 term would look like, what another Trump term would look like. We'll get to the voters shortly, but your poll showed that you were dominating the Republican race right now, but you were also under active federal investigation for trying to overturn the 2020 election results. Your first term
They
ended
start really soft.
Yeah.
with a deadly riot at the Capitol.
You're also convicted of murder and Hey, what's up, Brad Pitt?
What's up?
I already watched this morning. We're here again. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh,
Come join us.
is that
Publicly
Jay, by the way?
acknowledge
It might be
the
Jay. I don't know.
2020 election results. Why should Americans put you back in the White House?
Because we did fantastically. We got 12 million more votes than we had in, as you know, in 2016.
Still, we lost.
I actually say we did far better in that election. Got the
Yeah, we
most-
lost to somebody who hid in the basement.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then we had a water thing breaking during the election counting.
Yeah.
You know? It's just broken. Everybody had to go home for 4 or 5 hours.
And we had the cold also, the sneeze.
Oh, yeah, the sniffles.
that
Yes.
anybody's ever gotten as a president of the United States. I think that when you look at that result and when you look at what happened during that election, unless you're a very stupid person, you see what happens. A lot of the
I
people-
love it. I
a lot of the
love
people in
it.
this audience, and maybe
He's
a
not
couple
toning
that
down.
don't, but most people understand what happened. That was a rigged election, and it's a shame that we had to go through it. It's very bad for our country. All over the world, they looked at it, and they saw exactly what everyone else saw. You look, even if you just look recently with the 51 intelligence agents, that made a 16-point difference. If you look at the
But Mr.
FBI,
President-
if you look at the FBI and Twitter, they call it Twitter files, made a big difference. If you look at
Mr.
True the
President, back
Vote,
to what you just said there, though. It was not a rigged election. It was not a.
Oh, we have to
Oh,
inform.
yeah.
You have to make sure that the sheeple
Yeah, I was
do
just
not
waiting
think
for
that
that.
it
Yeah,
is. You
yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Listen, I always say this. If you're that sure and confident, you would not need to be even worrying about people saying it's stolen. You know what I mean? This, in fact, proves the opposite. It proves that it is. You know?
Stolen election. You and your supporters lost more than 60 court cases on the election. It's been nearly 2.5 years. Can you publicly acknowledge that you did lose the 2020 election?
let me just go on. If you look at True the Vote, they found millions of votes on camera, on government cameras, where they were stuffing ballot boxes. So with all of that, I think it's a shame that what happened. I think it's a very sad thing for our country. I think it's a very sad thing, frankly, for the world, because if you look at what's gone to our country has gone to hell. Our borders are bad. Our military has been bad. You look at the taxes, you look at inflation, what's happened to inflation, it's just destroying our country. We've really become, in many ways, a third world country. And it's very sad what's happened in this administration. And it's something that will turn around on day one. We were energy independent. Now energy is at a level that we've never had to pay before. Nobody can afford to continue to pay what's happening with energy. But we were energy independent. We were getting out of Afghanistan with strength and with dignity. And instead we got out, we looked like fools, probably the most embarrassing.
Hey, it's funny. It was talking about Afghanistan. I just saw a video on Twitter. It was the Taliban's. They got the choppers and stuff. This Black Hawk choppers. And they were test driving, and it was spinning and spinning, and then it crashed.
Oh, shit.
But they got the equipment. That's for sure.
They have a few to
We
practice
have a lot
on.
of questions
Yeah.
on the economy and foreign policy tonight, but what you just said there, Republican officials debunked those claims about fraudulent ballots. We want to give you a chance tonight.
Who?
Republican officials in Georgia and
Right?
every single state. There is no your own election officials, Mr. President. So we wanted to give you a
People were
chance.
afraid to take on the issue. But we have a big problem in this country. We have
we wanted to give you a
elections.
chance to
We have
acknowledge the
elections
results.
that were horrible.
Oh, you wanted to give him a chance. Oh,
As
thank
if he
you.
couldn't make his own
Thank
statement
you. No,
on
no.
other platforms.
CNN is helping him.
Yeah. This is the only place you can make a statement. They're giving him a chance.
Look at what happened in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. If you look at what happened in Detroit.
You see the language? We're giving you the chance. That's, if you don't think about it, it's like I'm above you. We are giving you the chance.
Exactly.
We are the authority and you're a bum.
Michigan, if you look at what happened in Atlanta, millions of votes, and all you have to do is take a look at government cameras. You'll see them, people going to 28 different voting booths to vote, to put in 7 ballots apiece.
But
I mean,
Mr.
and
President,
they're all
I
on
have to
camera.
stop you there because there is no evidence of that. Your own election officials testified to that and have
According
said
to
that
CNN.
Republicans in these states did this. In Georgia, there were multiple recounts, including a hand recount. We have questions about the claims that you're making tonight from voters on this topic. I want to bring in Scott Dustin from.
Also, I want to add this. They had no problem with saying that he stole the 2016 one. Remember that?
Yeah,
They
of
were-
course. Not only that, but yeah.
He stole the 2016 all throughout his term. He stole it. But then once Biden gets in, everything's perfect.
Yep.
Now everything's perfect.
Concord. He works in insurance litigation. He's an undeclared voter. That's what they call independents here in New Hampshire, as you know. He did vote for you in 2020. Scott, what's your question for the president?
Hi, President
Scott.
Trump. Welcome back to New Hampshire.
Thank you.
Will you suspend polarizing talk of election fraud during your run for president?
Will I suspend, excuse me, what?
Will you suspend polarizing talk of election fraud during your run for president?
Yeah, unless I see election fraud. If I see election fraud, I think I have
Of
an
course, if you
obligation to
don't
say
see
it.
evidence
And,
of it, then you will not, of
Right.
course. But if you see, you have to talk about it. What
What-
kind of question is that? And he had a note. I'm sure he got paid from
Maybe.
CNN to ask. Of course he did.
They went about it for years. Exactly,
Yeah.
Red Pill. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
And also, so what? If people talk about it, if he talks about it, does that change anything? Does that change that Biden is in? Or you don't want people to have the spotlight on that shit so you can do it again, right? Right?
what we went through a short while ago has really put our country in a big problem. I hope to do that. I hope we're going to have very honest elections. We should have voter ID. We should have one-day elections. We should have paper ballots instead of these mail-in votes. But the answer is yes, and I hope that it's going to be very straight up, because if it's going to be straight up, we're going to win the election.
So you will suspend talk, to his question, about the 2020 election on the campaign trail?
I guess we're going to just win. We're at a point now, we're getting so close. Let's just win it again and straighten out our country.
One other question on this.
Nah, she didn't look too happy there. That smile was so fake.
When you've talked about the 2020 election results in the past, you once suggested terminating the Constitution. Do you stand by those comments?
No. You were able to do certain things. I'm not talking about terminating the Constitution. I'm talking about cherishing the Constitution. The Constitution says that we're supposed to have legal and well-maintained and well-looked-at elections, and we didn't have that. I cherish our Constitution, but we have to live up to the Constitution.
Exactly.
We weren't living up to the Constitution.
I was just saying there's...
And let me just say, he was the winner until that water leak, happened. You know that?
Yeah.
Trump was the winner, and then a water leak happened, and then all of a sudden Biden won. Okay, nothing fishy at all about that shit.
No evidence of that election fraud. You did once...
No evidence.
To say that.
Fuck it, ain't. I saw shit with my own eyes during that time. Fuck you.
But, I'm glad you said that. But look, that was a horrible election. That was a horrible election, and unless somebody's very stupid, and I know you very well, you're not stupid at all, but you perhaps are given an agenda, or you have an agenda. Look, we have to have honest elections in our country. We have open borders. We have... You look at what's happening. I mean, we have elections. We have open borders. Look at what's happening on our southern border. Millions and millions of people are coming here. They're being released from prisons. They're being released from mental institutions. And we have millions of people pouring into our country. And now they're getting rid of Title 42, which I put on, which kept people out that were sick and
Mr. President, we have a lot of questions about immigration to get to tonight. Obviously, that's a big topic, especially given what's expected to happen tomorrow. But I want to talk about the influence you have over your voters. It's very clear that you are very influential over them. You have a lot of impact. I've been to many of your rallies and seen it up close, which raised a lot of questions about the influence that we saw that you had on them on January 6th and your supporters when they attacked the Capitol. Do you have any regret?
Isn't it funny how they're just starting up with, like, you're convicted for this, they're getting you for that, and January 6th, and all that shit, stolen, you know what?
Yeah.
Instead of, if this was somebody that was on their side, they would have been talking about positive stuff and what they're looking to change in the future, and maybe at the end some stuff that is controversial a little bit.
But just to mix it up a bit.
Yeah.
Not to make it too obvious.
Exactly. But here it's like from the get-go. From the get-go.
That's about your actions on January 6th.
Well, January 6th was, again, we go back to it, but January 6th had to do with the fact that hundreds of thousands of people, and you don't see the pictures very often. A lot of the people here probably were there. January 6th, it was the largest crowd I've ever spoken to. That was prior to the walk down to the Capitol building. I don't think, and I've spoken to hundreds of thousands of people, I've never spoken to a crowd as large as this. And that was because they thought the election was rigged. And they were there proud. They were there with love in their heart. That was an unbelievable, and it was a beautiful day. And what I was asked to do, I wasn't involved in it very much. I was asked to come in, would I make a speech? I made a speech. I said, walk peacefully and patriotically, many different things. In fact, I brought a list of things. I don't want to bore the audience, but we can go sentence after sentence after sentence of things I said and things I...
You know what he should have done? I mean, a list is cool, but he should have had an iPad, with the video.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, shut up, bitch. Listen to this. This is what I said. Suck it.
Put out. One of the big problems was that Nancy Pelosi, Crazy Nancy as I affectionately call her, Crazy Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington were in charge, as you know, of security.
And they didn't want
and they
They're
did
not in
not
charge
do
of
their
the
job.
National Guard. You're in charge of the
They
National
are in
Guard.
well, I offered them National Guard. I said, we'll give you soldiers, we'll give you National Guard, we'll give you whatever you want. And they turned me down.
Your
and in
acting
fact, she
defense
turned me down.
secretary-
She
Shut
turned
up.
me down in writing. They turned me down.
But your acting defense secretary, Chris Miller, at the time, he says you never gave a formal order to deploy the National Guard. But when it came to that day,
Dude, I remember.
The fuck?
I remember his Twitter feed the days before. He
Yeah.
was like, "I'm offering National Guard
Yeah.
10,000, 30,000. I don't know what it was." For days, he's like, "But they don't want to take it." I saw that shit with my own eyes. Fuck you, bitch.
Chris Miller wrote a book, and he's a fantastic guy, and he was ready to go. They turned him down. If you look, the mayor of Washington, D.C., lovely lady, she said, we don't want it. We don't like the look. Nancy Pelosi said, oh, we don't like the look. If they would have had I offered them 10,000 soldiers. I said, it could be 10, it could be more, but I offered them
They didn't want
specifically
them there.
10,000
Exactly.
soldiers.
Of course.
If they would have taken 500 soldiers, you wouldn't have had the problem. They turned it down. And if you look at the Inspector General report, he says they turned it down. They made a terrible mistake.
well, Chris Miller was your acting defense secretary. He says you never gave that order. But back to what happened on that day.
He
you said
did
you
not
weren't.
say that.
He has testified that.
Did she
Mr.
say the
President.
N-word?
But you said you weren't
Mistakenly.
And they turned it down. They made a terrible mistake.
Well, Chris Miller was your acting defense secretary. He says you never gave that order. But
It almost sounds.
I know.
back to what happened on that day.
He
You said
did
you
not
weren't.
say that.
He has testified that, Mr.
He did
President.
not say that.
But you said you weren't very involved that day. You did tell your supporters to come to Washington. You tweeted about it, about
Sure,
that
of
speech
course.
that happened on the rally.
Am I
So
allowed
when
to
they,
say that?
When they went to the Capitol and they were breaking into the Capitol, smashing windows, injuring police officers, why did it take you 3 hours to tell them to go home?
I don't believe it did. Oh, let me pull it out.
And they're applauding that.
So if you look at, on January 5th, the day before, I said, please support our Capitol Police and law enforcement. They are truly on the side of our country. Stay peaceful. Stay peaceful. This was the day before, and this was in the form of Twitter. Now I use Truth Social. I think it's far superior, okay? I hope everybody's on Truth. If you look January 6th, this is before 2:30. I am asking for everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful. This is right after, as it was happening. But what happened is they took it down. I don't know why. I think they took it down because it was so good. They didn't like it being up there.
Yeah, why would you take it down, right? Why would you take it down? Especially when you hear him say in the video, go home. We don't want to,
Yeah, but of course we know why they took it down.
I know, I'm just saying, you know what
Yeah,
I
I
mean?
know.
Like, what kind of a defense can you have? Like, oh, we took it down because it was dangerous. Dangerous? He's telling them to go home. And also, I have to add this, I've said this many times before. There was up to 1 million people there. So why didn't 1 million people storm it? Why? And also that guy, the guy called Ray Epps. That
Yeah.
guy. Why is he getting off the hook? When
Right,
everybody
right.
else is getting like 2-3 years prison. But that guy, he gets like 60 minutes of shit. He's like, they're after me and shit. I was just trying to get people going to the Capitol, storm it, I wasn't doing anything else. I was just trying to get people to storm it, And now they're after me. They're like, oh, sorry. We feel sorry for you.
I am
What?
asking, and we didn't know until I got it back, because now I have 90 million people waiting for me to go back, but I'm on Truth, and I'm staying on Truth. Listen, I am asking for everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful. No violation. We want no violation. We want no violence. Remember, we are the party of law and order. Respect the law and our great men and women in blue. Thank you. That was at 2:30.
Exactly.
That was very early.
Mr. President, I looked at the same timeline that you did.
No,
Once
no,
it was
but you
clear,
didn't report that. You know why? Because it was
we
taken
did report
down.
it. I was reporting that
It was
day.
taken down and it wasn't
But
put
when it
back
was
up.
clear to you that they were not being peaceful, you saw them rushing the Capitol, breaking windows. They were hitting officers with flagpoles, tasing them.
Again,
beating.
what do you mean? There was up to 1 million people. Are you saying because of this small group of people, are you judging the whole million people? Isn't that kind of like what racist people does? You know what I mean?
Right? Judging everyone.
Yes. Are you racist, bitch?
Yeah.
Are you racist? Because there was 1 million people there. So you're taking that little crowd and you're lumping the 1 million people together with that little crowd, just like racists do. Yes, that's right. Fuck you.
Beating them up when it was clear they weren't being peaceful. Why did you wait 3 hours to tell them to leave the Capitol? They listened to you like no one else. You know that.
They do. I agree with that. But
So why didn't you tell them to go home sooner?
Nancy Pelosi and the mayor are in charge. I assume they were able to do their job. They weren't.
But
And it
Pelosi's
kicked
not in charge of Capitol
And if you remember,
security.
I made a video right outside the Oval Office in the Rose Garden. And I'm very proud of that video. I didn't have a script. I don't need scripts like a certain person that's in
But
there.
what time, the video, it came out much later after they had already attacked you.
Shut up, bitch. Shut up.
It was a great video. And it was a beautiful video. And it said, I mean, I don't want to read it all, but you have to go home now. We have to have peace. We have to have law and order. We have to respect our great people of law and order. We love the people of law and order. We can't play into the hands of these other people. We have to have peace. Please go home. I
Well,
said that.
referring
You know
to
what
the
they
law and
did?
order there,
They took
Mr.
that
President.
down. And you know, to this day, it hasn't been put up. And the reason is it's so
Agreed.
good
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
so conclusive that all of this nonsense
feels
and
so
all of the
relaxed
tens of
also.
millions of dollars that have been spent
He is
are just wiped away
battle
with this
trained.
one. And they've never put it back up. They had another one that they did the same
But that
thing.
video that you referenced there, it wasn't posted until 4:17 p.m.
No, I'll tell
They
you.
breached the Capitol
This
at
is so fucking silly. It feels like kindergarten shit, you know?
2 p.m.
That video was
Mr. President.
posted,
He is president.
4:17
yeah,
Yes.
before, actually a little bit before that.
Right, so that's my question.
excuse
Because
me.
in that 3 hours, over
Excuse me,
140
it was
officers
posted
were
after the
injured.
first one I just read, though, and that was at 2 o'clock.
But I think the reason the timeline is so critical here, because going back to
Is
your
it me or is her microphone slightly higher than his, huh? What is it?
Yeah. I think they hire it also when they want her to interrupt him.
Yeah. Because subconsciously, that shit does something, you know?
Of course.
influence. In
Here's
that
another
3
one I
hours,
posted.
over 140 officers were injured that day.
And a person named Ashley Babbitt was killed.
Yes.
You know what? She was killed, and she shouldn't have been killed. And that thug that killed her, there was no reason to shoot her. At blank range, cold blank range, they shot her.
Yeah, it was
And
weird.
she was a good person. She was a patriot.
One
And there was
person
no
who was
reason.
there-
There was no reason. And he went on television to brag about the fact that he killed her.
The officer was not bragging about the fact that he
Oh,
killed
he
her,
was
but one
bragging.
person who was at the
Why are you defending the officer? I mean, you should just ask questions and shut up, right? What is this back and forth shit?
Capitol that day, as you know, was your vice president, Mike Pence, who says that you endangered his life on that day.
I don't
Do
think
you
he was in
feel,
any danger.
Mr. President, do you feel that you owe him an apology?
No, because he did something wrong. He should have put the votes back to the state legislatures, and I think we would have had a different outcome. I really do.
But he doesn't have the authority
They're like,
to do that,
yes.
as you know.
What?
We love that
The
outcome.
vice president does not have the authority to reject
are you
those,
ready?
those
Let's have
election
this one out
results.
just now, because it's interesting. Let's keep it interesting, right? I
Right.
like Mike Pence very much. He's a very fine man. He's a very nice man. He made a mistake. His lawyer said, you cannot move. I called him the human conveyor belt. I said, even if the votes, I talked to his lawyer, even if the votes are absolutely fraudulent, he can't say, yes, sir, he can't send back. And the Democrats played it, and the rhinos played it. And then the election was over. They told him he couldn't do it. And Mike said to me, I can't do it. The lawyers told me he can't do it. They can't do it. But the lawyers were wrong, because right after the election, they all met, the rhinos and the Democrats, and they worked out a plan to make sure that future vice presidents don't do what I said you could do.
That's not what happened. You're referring to the Electoral Count Act.
That's
I've
exactly
read that. There is no authority.
No,
legal
excuse
experts,
me.
including Republican legal experts, say that he does
I've heard something about
Yeah,
that.
I
Like
know.
the vice president should not be able to do that, whatever this is.
not have that authority, Mr. President.
Caitlin,
But I want
why
to
did
move
they
on.
change the law then, saying that you can't do it?
They didn't change the law.
You're right.
They strengthened the law because they were worried about
Oh, they
President.
What a
strength
strength
then.
then. You either can or you can't.
Yeah.
Right? Strengthen it a little bit.
Strengthened it,
exploding.
meaning you could do it.
That's not what it means.
Thank you.
They strengthened
Every
the law.
time he
they
brings
have
up
a
a
right to
heavy
do it.
subject,
They-
she changes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Convinced him he didn't, and it was a horrible thing for our country. If you would have sent those votes back to Georgia, Pennsylvania, and other states, Wisconsin, which if you look at Wisconsin, they've virtually admitted now that the election was rigged. If
They
you
have
would have
not
sent
admitted
those
that,
votes
Mr.
back to
President.
many of those states, they would not come back in the affirmative. And remember what I said, and you just said it pretty much, you admitted what I said was right.
I
They
did
said he
not.
didn't have the right to do it, and he did have the right to do it, and that's why they changed the law, taking that right away.
I should note that your campaign paid for a recount that happened in Wisconsin. It actually had more votes for President Biden by the end of it. But I want to move on to Wayne
fuck
Byer.
you.
He's a retired attorney
sure.
from North Conway.
So
who
many
is-
illegal votes were cast. in
Also,
this-
let me just say this. Do you remember the days, I think it was 2020, when before YouTube took away the dislikes and shit? Do you remember Biden's
right.
inauguration and
Yeah.
all that shit? It had like 140,000 dislikes
Yeah.
and shit. They're like, oh shit, we gotta do something.
And then the
YouTube. Since we care about our creators' well-being, we have to take away the dislike. Sorry, gone, boom. Has nothing to do with the creators' well-being. We, the creators, see the dislikes still. You know, to this day, we're still seeing it. It's complete bullshit. They were protecting the mummy in office.
Wisconsin. And if you look in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, they had so many illegal votes, they didn't even know what to do with them. You're absolutely wrong
Mr.
about
President,
that.
there weren't any fraudulent votes in Wisconsin. I do want to get to the audience, though. We have questions for you from the audience. Wayne Byer is a retired attorney from North Conway. He has previously served in Republican administrations. He volunteered for the Republican Party in the 2022 midterms. He voted for you in 2020. What's your question for the President, Wayne?
Thank you for coming, Mr. President.
Thank you, Wayne.
My question to you is, will you pardon the January 6 rioters who were convicted of federal offenses?
I am inclined to pardon many of them. I can't say for every single one because a couple of them probably they got out of control. But, you know, when you look at Antifa, what they've done to Portland, and if you look at Antifa, look at what they've done to Minneapolis and so many other places. Look at what they did to Seattle. And
Yeah, remember that?
Yeah.
In 2020, they burned the whole
fuck,
fucking
yeah. It
state
looked like a
down
war
or something.
zone.
Yeah, and then the CNN people, it's peacefully.
Yeah, and he was actually standing in front of a burning building.
Yeah, it's mostly peaceful. Like
All right.
looks like a war zone in the Middle East or something. It's mostly peaceful, and that was during the coup. During the coup, but that was okay.
But the virus was, you know.
Yeah, during the coup, they were allowed to burn down the whole state or city or
They
whatever.
were
it is.
pardoned
BLM,
by the virus.
BLM.
Yeah.
Many people were killed. These people, I'm not trying to justify anything, but you have two standards of justice in this country, and what they've done, and I love that question, because what they've done to so many people is nothing. And then what they've done to these people, they've persecuted these people. And yeah, my answer is I am most likely, if I get in, I will most likely, I would say it will be a large portion of them. You know, they did a very, and it'll be very early on. And they're living.
By the way, that guy, the shaman guy, he got released. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. Or
a couple
did
of
I
months
know?
ago.
Yeah, I know.
Nobody
I
talks
know.
about it.
Yeah.
In hell right now.
So when it comes
they're
to
living in
pardons-
hell, and they're policemen, and they're firemen, and they're soldiers, and they're carpenters and electricians, and they're great people. Many of them are just great people.
Mr. President, one of the people who was convicted was a former policeman, but he was convicted of attacking a police officer, I should note. But when you said you are considering pardoning a large portion of those charged with crimes on January 6th, does that include the 4 Proud Boys members who were charged and convicted of seditious conspiracy?
Does he look younger?
Yeah, I saw that.
I mean, I don't think he looks younger, but he doesn't look that much older. You know what I mean? Like, he's aging very good, you know?
I don't know. I'd have to look at their case, but I will say in Washington, D.C., you cannot get a fair trial. You cannot. Just like in New York City, you can't get a fair trial either.
They're like, yeah, that's true.
Speaking of New York, I want to ask you about a significant verdict that was reached yesterday. I know this is something you want to weigh in on as well. A Manhattan jury found that you sexually abused the writer E. Jean Carroll and defamed her. You've denied this, but what do you say to
They're laughing.
Defamed her?
Did you hear the crowd really laughing?
Yeah, but defamed her? Motherfucker, you just called me a rapist. And that wasn't true. You know, the jury didn't find that true. So who defamed who, motherfucker? You know what I mean? Like, okay, I just called you a rapist, but you called me a nutcase. Give me $5 million, man.
voters who say it disqualifies you from being president?
Well, there aren't too many of them because my poll numbers just came out. They went up. Okay.
Yeah, it's like more fuel to the fire.
I'm the only person in history who had a charge like that. And usually you leave office, you say, I'm sorry, but I'm going to back home. I'm back home to my family and everything. I'm going to be resigned. My poll numbers went up, and they went up with the other fake charge, too. Because what's happening is they're doing this for election interference. This woman, I don't know her. I never met her. I have no idea who she is. I had a picture taken years ago with her and her husband, nice guy, John Johnson. He was a newscaster, very nice man. She called him an ape. Happens to be African American. Called him an ape.
Really?
The judge wouldn't allow us to put that in. Her dog or her cat was named Vagina. The judge wouldn't allow to put that in. All these things. But with her,
Nice name for your cat or dog, right?
Shit.
This is the nutcase that said that grape is sexy. You know, she looks like an absolute nutcase.
How did she look when she was younger then?
Not that much better looking. I've seen on Twitter. Not that much. I'm totally serious. Not that much.
they can put in anything. Access
This
Hollywood.
was a jury of 9 people who found you liable of sexual abuse. Do you think that will
9
deter
CNN
women
people.
from voting
Right?
for you?
No, I don't think so, because I think the whole thing, just so you understand, ready? I never met this woman. I never saw this woman. This woman said, I met her at the front door of Bergdorf Goodman, which I rarely go into, other than for a couple of charities. I met her in the front door. She was about 60 years old, and this is like 22, 23 years ago. I met her in the front door of Bergdorf Goodman. I was immediately attracted to her, and she was immediately attracted to me. And we had this great chemistry. We're walking into a crowded department store. We had this great chemistry, and a few minutes later, we end up in a room, a dressing room of Bergdorf Goodman, right near the cash register. And then she found out there were locks on the door. So she said, I found one that was open. She found one. She learned this at trial. She found one that was open. What kind of a woman meets somebody and brings them up, and within minutes, you're playing hanky-panky in a dressing room, okay? I don't know if she was married then or not. John Johnson, I feel sorry for you, John Johnson.
Mr. President, can I...
This is a comedy show.
Yeah, as if Trump needs to do shit like that. That sounds like teenager shit. You know, let's go into the locker room. The dude is like a billionaire.
He doesn't need to go into locker room.
And with that, and not only just going into the locker room with that thing, feeling the need of graping that thing. You know what I mean? That's an addition on top of everything.
Mr. President,
Let me just...
He's so, you can't stay away from it. You have to grape that. That's crazy.
If I could, because you asked the question.
This was a
just so
jury,
you understand,
though.
if I was walking in at the park, because I was very famous then, and I owned the Plaza Hotel right next door, and I owned buildings around it, I'm not going into a dressing room of a
Right?
department store. Then I
He's
say,
not that
if she
kind of
was
guy.
being raped, and
You
by
wanna
the
go
way,
into the
they said
closet?
She wasn't raped. Okay, that was her charge. She wasn't.
They found that you sexually abused her.
No, what? Say what they did. They said he didn't rape her. And
They did
I
not
didn't
say
do
you
anything else either. You know what? Because I have no idea who the hell she is.
But Mr.
I
President,
don't know who this woman
can I
is.
ask you, given your recounting
I
your
don't know
version...
who, and I tell you this.
But Mr.
Are
President,
you ready?
can I
And I
can I
swear
ask
on
you
my
because-
children, which I'd never do. I have no idea who this woman. This is a fake story, made up story. We had a horrible Clinton-appointed judge. He was horrible. He allowed her to put everything in. He allowed us to put nothing in.
Mr. President,
this is a
you're
fake
recounting your version of
story.
events here right now to the audience. You referenced the trial. You did not go to the trial and actually
That's right.
testify. Do you wish that you had
No,
testified?
it wouldn't have made a difference. This was a rigged deal. This was my lawyer said, sir, you don't have to do it. I actually said, I think I should. It would be respectful. They said, sir, don't do it. This is a fake story, and you don't want to give it credibility. That's why I didn't go.
One thing you did do in this.
And I swear, and I've never done that, and I swear to I have no idea who the hell. She's a
Mr.
whack
President,
job.
you did not testify in person in this trial. There was a taped deposition of you from October in it. You defended the comments that you made on that Access Hollywood tape about being able to grab women how you want. Do you stand by those comments?
Right.
I said if you're famous and rich or whatever I said, but I said if you're a star, you are, and I said, women let you. I didn't say you grab. I said women let. You didn't use that word. But if you look, women let you. Now, they said, will you take that back? I said, look, for 1,000,000 years, this is the way it's been.
Yeah.
I want to be honest. This is the way it's been. I can take it back if you'd like to, but
it's not
if
going
you're
to change
a famous
anything.
person, if you're a star, and I'm not referring to myself, I'm saying people that are famous, people that are
You were asked
stars,
in the deposition.
people that
I mean, I think it's ridiculous that you have to explain this shit.
I don't even think, okay, what he say, when you're famous, they let you grab them by the pussy.
Yeah.
But, this kind of talk every guy does.
Yeah.
It's nothing strange.
You mean talking about
Yeah.
like he did in
Yeah.
that bus or whatever it was in 2005
Yeah.
when he said that?
Yeah, because if he said they will let you hold their arm, no one would give a shit.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's true. It's true. The women that are around people that are famous and rich, they will let you do that. I'm not saying
There's
every
fucking
woman.
schools that teach girl how to grab and attract millionaire guys.
Yeah.
Huh? So,
This is ridiculous.
are rich,
yourself to be a star and
people
you
that are
said yes.
powerful, they tend to do pretty well in a lot of different ways, okay? And you would like me to take that back? I can't take it back because it happens to be true. I said
Yeah,
it's been true
exactly.
for...
Bros talk 10 times.
Yeah.
And so does women, by the way, but they do it in a different way. But yeah,
but still.
the worst thing is guys who I can't believe he said that.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to like Trump, but when he said that grabbing on the pussy, that was it. You know what it is? You're either a soy boy or you're trying to deflect that you do shit like that. So you try
I
to
would never. I have never.
preemptively stop. I don't like stack talk. I can't stand people talking like that, so I can't support him. Every guy does that or has done that when they're around guys, because guys does that, do stuff like that, because that's how guys interact with each other.
1 million years, approximately 1 million years, perhaps a little bit longer than that.
So you stand by those comments?
Well, I don't want to lie.
Mr. President, we have a lot of
here's
questions.
what she wants
Mr.
me to say.
President, let's
a
get to
rich
the
and
audience
famous
questions
person
tonight.
has no advantage over anyone else. Well, you do have an advantage. And I say unfortunately, but that's the way it is.
You said fortunately or unfortunately,
Well,
but Mr.
fortunately or
President, we have a lot
unfortunately
of
for
audience
her.
questions to get to tonight. I want to go
Petty
back to the
shit.
audience. We've got Danielle Rieger. She works as an oral surgery assistant. She's a Republican activist from Derry. She was a New Hampshire delegate for you in 2020. What's your question?
Hi, thank you so much for coming to New Hampshire to answer our questions. My question is regarding the economy. Over the past 2 years, we have seen the prices for everything skyrocket. From food to gas to utilities and insurance costs, many people's bills are up several $100s a month, including mine. If elected president again, what is the first thing you would do to help bring down the cost to make things more affordable?
Drill, baby, drill.
Energy.
We were energy independent. We were soon going to be energy dominant. And nobody had ever done what I did. We got oil down to $1.87. Actually, it fell lower than that in some cases. We had to save the oil companies. The price was getting so. We were doing incredibly. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country, probably the greatest economy in the history of the world. We were energy independent, soon to be energy dominant. We were going to be bigger than Russia and Saudi Arabia put together ×2. We have more liquid gold under our feet than any other nation. And these stupid fools ended it. And energy went from $1.87 and even lower for gasoline, for a car. They went from $1.87 to $5, $6, $7, $8, and even $9. And your electricity bills went through the roof, your heating bills went through the roof. And that's what started inflation. And it hasn't stopped because people are paying now for bacon and for eggs and for...
And if you got that much oil under your ground, why the fuck don't you drill that
Because
shit
it's
up?
gonna run out.
Also, quickly, you know what I heard about these electric cars and shit? I saw a video on Twitter. There was somebody saying how ridiculous this whole electric car thing is because the amount of watts that needs to be able to charge up all these fucking cars was like He said it was more than a fucking city. It was
Can
gigawatts, a billion gigawatts and shit. Anyways.
For the 2 and 3 times what it was just a little while ago. We created the greatest economy in history. A big part of that economy was got you the biggest tax cuts in the history of our country, bigger than the Reagan cuts, bigger than any cut. And also, Caitlin, also, as you know, we got the biggest regulation and regulatory cuts. This place was rocking, and then we were given a gift from China, and China paid a big price. And let me tell you something. I took in hundreds of billions of dollars in taxes from China. But prior to COVID coming in, and then I rebuilt the economy again, a second time. But we had, prior to COVID coming in as from China, from Wuhan, which I said it came from Wuhan. Everybody said, oh, you're wrong about that. You're wrong. It came from Wuhan. I said,
remember during his little small press conferences he had during the COOF nonsense, you know? He said, it's come from China.
Yeah.
China. He was like steadfast. China. But again, I know I've said this many times before. But isn't it funny how nobody is angry over what happened during the COOF? No country is angry. They're trying to just move on. Anyways.
Did it right from day one. So we had the greatest economy in the world. Here's the story. They made energy so high, and energy is all invasive. It is massive as an industry and as a cost. It lifted everything. If you made donuts, no matter what you did, and we had inflation, the likes of which I guess we haven't had, as I said, for 52 years, but I think more than that. We had no inflation. We had the lowest energy prices we've had in decades. This country was rocking and rolling. And by the way, we had the most secure border in the history of our country.
Mr. President, we have more questions on the economy. I want to make sure we get to all of those. As you know, the U.S. right now could be just 3 weeks away from defaulting on its debt. That could mean millions of jobs lost, people not getting their Social Security payments. People believe it would put the U.S. economy into a recession. On that topic, I want to bring in Marta Cervella, a student here at St. Anselm. She is an undeclared voter who did not vote in 2020. Marta, what's your question?
Hi, Mr. President.
Hi, thank you.
So my question is, what do you think about the United States' current debt situation, and how can we move forward?
Such an important question. So we're at $33 trillion, a number that nobody ever thought possible. When we had our economy rocking and rolling just prior to COVID coming in, like literally, we were making a fortune. And oil, we were going to make so much money from oil, we were going to start paying off debt. But then with COVID coming in, we had to do other things. We had to keep this country alive because it was so serious. But we have to get the country back. We have to lower energy prices. We have to lower interest rates. Interest rates are through the roof. Energy has to come down. It all has to come down, and we have to start paying off debt. But when we have a debt limit, and they use that very seriously with me. They came in, Schumer came in with Nancy Pelosi, and they were using it. We'll violate it. We'll do whatever. They talked a whole lot different than they do right now. I say to the Republicans out there, congressmen, senators, if they don't give you massive cuts, you're going to have to do a default. And I don't believe they're going to do a default because I think the Democrats will absolutely cave because you don't want to have that happen. But it's better than what we're doing right now because we're spending money like drunken sailors.
So just to be clear, Mr. President, you think the U.S. should default if the White House does not agree to the spending cuts Republicans are demanding?
You might as well do it now because you'll do it later. Because we have to save this country. Our country is dying. Our country is being destroyed by stupid people, by very stupid people.
You once said that using the debt ceiling as a negotiating wedge just could not happen. You said that when you were in the Oval Office.
That's when I was president.
So why is it different now that you're out of office?
Because now I'm not president.
Gold. Love it.
The U.S. defaulting would be massively consequential for everyone in this room, for all Americans.
You don't know. It's psychological. It's really psychological more than anything else. And it could be very bad. It could be maybe nothing. Maybe it's you have a bad week or a bad
Donald
day.
Trump is a fat orange. What are you, a little baby?
Yeah.
He's a fat...
Don't get to it. Don't have the time
Stop
or the energy.
fat shaming, man.
Right.
If you're a damn lefty demon, do what you preach. Do what you preach. Why would anyone support this grapist loser? No, you know who's a grapist? the motherfucker in office right now. He's showering with his own daughter and shit. He got his son with a bunch of minors and shit. Sit your ass down. You got a bunch of demons inside of you, man.
You have to cut your costs. We're spending
This man is
$7 trillion on
the Don, man.
much of it on nonsense.
You are a lefty.
$7 trillion
No, I don't want to finish my beard. I like my beard how it is, okay? This is like Three Musketeers. I like it that way. I don't want to finish it. You are a lefty. You have to be.
Said, get all of that money that was wasted, and frankly, the Senate should have never approved it. Get all that money that was wasted, and if they don't get rid of that, you'll have to default. Okay?
Mr. President, we've got another voter here tonight.
And by the way, you're going to default eventually anyway, but it's going to be much messier. I don't think you'll have to default. I think if the Republicans hold strong and they say we want let's say we want $5 trillion off, I really think the Democrats have no choice but to do it.
What is that?
And
But
if
I have the mic.
They're going to be doing the same thing to me in 2 years. I guarantee you that.
trying
Mr.
to
They're
President,
going
we've
to
got
play a
another
very
voter here
hardball game,
tonight.
and they did that before.
Bobby Petrino has been waiting very patiently.
Sure.
He's a student at St. Anselm. He's a member of College Republicans. He's an undeclared voter right now. He supported you in 2020. Bobby, what's your question for President Trump?
Hi, thank you for coming. This is a bit of a pivot, but with gun violence and mass shootings in the news cycle recently, I'm worried that state governments and the federal government are going to act to repress gun rights. Under your administration, you instructed the Department of Justice and the ATF to ban bump stocks. If elected president again, how would you act not only to defend our Second Amendment rights, but to restore rights that have been taken from us, such as, by example, recently the ATF's ruling on the pistol stabilizing braces?
Yeah, as you know, the bump stocks are actually a very unimportant thing. And NRA, I went with them, and they said it doesn't mean anything. They're actually, all they do is teach you how to shoot very inaccurately. So we did that. There's been nobody that's protected the Second Amendment, as you know, like I have. I protected it through thick and thin, not easy to do. But we have a very big mental health problem in this country. And again, it's not the gun that pulls the trigger; it's the person that pulls the trigger.
Exactly.
And we have to
Exactly, you dummies, whoever they are, who ban the guns, ban the guns.
It's not gonna help.
Oh yeah, ban the knives, ban anything that
Ban
is
the
sharp.
forks.
Yeah, ban the hammer. What else? What else can he do damage with? The pen.
Anything that you want.
Yeah, ban the pen.
High heels.
Ban the high heels. Ban the scissors.
Yeah.
Ban the scissors. Ban the cars.
Glasses.
Ban the motorbikes. What else? Ban the fists. Ban the elbow.
Yeah.
You know. What else? Ban fire. Right? You can do damage with fire.
Massive.
Ban gas, but they're doing that.
protect our Second Amendment. We have to protect our Second Amendment.
Mr. President, you dealt with a lot of mass shootings when you were in office. This year, there have already been more than 200 mass shootings in 2023. If you are reelected, are there any new gun restrictions that you would sign into law?
I would do numerous things. For instance, schools, we would harden, very much harden. And I'm a very believer. I believe in teachers. I love teachers. I think they're incredible. And they love the children, not quite like the parents, but they love the children in many cases almost as much. Many of these teachers are soldiers, ex-policemen. They're people that really understand weapons, and you don't need 5%.
Hey, hold on. I have to answer this.
I know.
What can we do to prevent Trump from raping another? Listen, if you're truly worried about that, why aren't you looking at Biden? You're talking about the wrong guy here, okay? So you're either an Agent Smith, you know, because you should be looking at Biden. Have you seen his compilation? Have you seen his compilation with kids? Also, have you heard his talk about the little kids in the pool stroking his leg hair? Have you heard that shit? Calling them cockroaches and shit?
Sniffing them.
Yeah, sniffing on, doing all kinds of shit. So shut up. Shut up. This man is the only thing standing between humanity getting electronically enslaved. So sit down.
The teachers would be more than you could ever have if you're going to hire security guards. But in addition to that, have security guards. You have to harden your entrances. You have to make schools
I'm the wife.
safe.
Are you
And
calling
can
my...
make other
Listen,
places safe.
cocksucker.
But it is a big
I'm going to
mental
throw
health
you out,
problem
you
in this country,
motherfucker.
more than anything
You know
else.
what I mean?
And remember, we have 700 million guns.
Fucking piece of shit.
700 million. Many people...
That's how I know you're a lefty. Only a lefty does shit like that, you know? You ain't fooling me, bitch. You ain't fooling me. I see the demon inside of your ass. Okay,
That's a man. That's it. He's out.
Bye, bitch. Cocksucker. It was nice seeing you. Or it wasn't nice.
No, it was definitely not nice. Yes.
How the fuck? Yes. Bye, bitch.
Thank you.
They don't have a gun, they're not going to be very safe. I mean, if they don't have a gun, it gives them security.
Don't let these
Now, you need
disgusting
them for
lefties get to you.
I'm trying to listen to
for
Trump.
hunting,
He's
you need them
just,
for a
you
lot
know.
of different things.
They're full of demons.
But
I
there are
know.
people that if they didn't have the privilege of having a gun in some form, many of them would not be alive today. You know, there's a certain country that had a very strict policy on guns, very, very strict.
Which country?
And, Brazil, okay? Brazil, very strict. And the former president of Brazil, and the killing was incredible. They were walking into people's homes and killing people. They had no protection. He said, go out and buy guns. People went out and bought guns, and it went way down. The numbers went way down because they had security. If you look at Chicago
You have
has
to
the
have a
single
gun.
toughest gun policies in the nation. They are so tough you can't breathe. New York, too, and other places also. All of those places are the worst and most dangerous places. So that's not the answer.
No new restrictions that you would sign if reelected, Mr. President. I want you to meet Julie Miles, a registered nurse from Merrimack. She's a Republican who voted for you in 2020. Julie, what's your question for the president?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
I appreciate you answering this question this evening. How do you plan to appeal to women voters in New Hampshire who are concerned about the Dobbs decision and how states may change their laws?
It's such a great question, and it was such a great victory, and people are starting to understand it now. You know that they wanted to bring it back to the states, but that was probably the least important part of that victory. Getting rid of Roe v. Wade was an incredible thing for pro-life because it gave pro-life something to negotiate with. Pro-life had absolutely nothing being stuck in Roe v. Wade to negotiate with. And now what's happening, and I see it all over.
You know this Roe v. Wade? There's this lady, Roe v.
Yeah,
one
I
of
know.
them. Yeah, I think her name is Roe v. He has been talking on tape that she was lying about. I don't know that much.
Yeah, I think I saw something.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's dead now, I think. But before she died, she said that whatever it was about, that it was a lie. She lied. Yeah, Agent Smith's attacking. Yeah, fuck those Agent Smiths. I'm not a lefty. Fuck you ain't.
Right.
I see the demon coming out, man.
Gamma
Deals are being
protector.
made, deals are going to
Yeah.
be made. And look, everybody that was president wanted to get rid and tried to get rid of Roe v. Wade.
You mean
for 50
Republicans?
years. Republicans. For 50 years, this has been going on. Actually, a couple of Democrats, too. But for 50 years, this has been going on. I was able to do it, and I was very honored to do it. But by doing it, things are happening that are very, very positive. And I happen to believe in the exceptions, the life of the mother, rape, incest, like Ronald Reagan believed in the exceptions. But I happen to believe that. I think it's frankly important to do that, but a lot of people are, against that. A relatively small number.
I'm
but-
for it. You know what? Because when you get raped or shit like that, it's wrong.
Yeah, it's not an easy question, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's wrong. So I can understand that. Aborting that.
The way I look at it, I think it's very important to say this. I consider the other side to be radical because the other side, under Roe v. Wade and other things, the other side,
up, white thought?
they're radical because they will. Remember the debate with Hillary Clinton? They said, rip the baby out of the womb at the end of the 9th month. They will kill the baby in the 9th month. If you look at that.
How are people not outraged
Yeah.
about that?
I don't know, but that just shows how the society has changed. How
It's
can
sick.
you not? Abortion is one thing, but
Yeah.
that
That's like
the fuck
child. You know what?
sacrifice.
Yeah.
That crazy governor of Virginia from the former governor, where he said, no, the baby will be born, and then we'll decide essentially whether or not to execute the baby.
What is a lie?
You would do
I
if
think
you
it
These
said-
are the radical
It's
people.
back.
No, I've heard the guy he's talking about.
Ah, okay.
This former senator.
Ah.
I've heard it. No, we are smart people, void of thought. But I don't know if I can say that about you, considering your name. I'm void of thought.
It's not the pro.
Good name you got there,
But
man.
if you are reelected and you're back in the Oval Office and you get legislation to your desk, would you sign a federal abortion ban into law?
What I'll do is negotiate so that people are happy. But the fact that I was able, I'm so proud of it. We put 3 great justices on the Supreme Court. We have almost 300 federal judges on the Supreme Court.
So just to be clear, Mr. President, you would sign a federal abortion ban into law.
I said this. I want to do what's right. And we're looking, and we want to do what's right for everybody.
But what's right?
But now, for the first time, the people that are pro-life have
You
negotiated.
damn right. You gotta be an absolute lunatic to not support this man. Especially now. But even before this. You know? What the fuck, man? What's wrong with you? How bad is your judgment that you can't see that this
I think this is the guy that you threw out, only that he's on Twitch now.
Ah, smart. Maybe.
Negotiating capability
Maybe.
because you didn't have it before. They could kill the baby in the 9th month or after the baby was born.
You little
Now they're at
bitch.
the
Did
end-
you go over to Twitter now?
Yeah.
No, Twitter. Did you go over to Twitch? Guess I have to take you away over there too. Man. Just go and suck Biden's cock, man. I don't know why you even spend time here. Just go and suck Biden's cock and, you know. How the fuck do you do this? I hate Twitch, man. I hate Twitch. So many options on Twitch, man. Like moderator actions. Hey, Void Thought, do you know how I can block you? I really need your help, man. Listen, I'm not... It's okay to be, you know, disagree. But don't you fucking insult my wife, and don't you claim shit that are not true. That shit ain't true.
But I think this is a really important question for you to answer.
I couldn't block
because
you
this is
yet.
something every Republican, including those who are running against you for the nomination, are being asked about is, would you sign a federal abortion ban into law?
And many of them are going to give you the same answer as I am. First of all, I am honored to have done what I did. And a lot of people said, in 150 years, he's now the most consequential president because he saved so many lives. And I'm honored to have done it.
The best fucking president we have ever seen.
And because of what I've done, we now have a great negotiating ability. That's what I do in life. I negotiate. We have a great negotiating.
Are you talking about this bullshit nutcase lady? Is that what you're talking about? This fucking nutcase that says grape is sexy?
Negotiating ability, and I think we're going to be able to
But
get
what do you
something
mean
done.
negotiating ability? Because the question that Republicans have, and some of your allies on Capitol Hill say that they want to introduce legislation when it comes to banning abortion. If they send it to your desk, would you sign it?
Some people are at 6 weeks. Some people are at 3 weeks,
Where's
2
President
weeks.
Trump?
President Trump is going to make a determination what.
Grab them by the pussy. You just talked about that. And we both just agreed that, yes, if you're famous, rich, gold diggers will let you. He said let you, not force. Only lefties force shit, you know? Only lefties force shit. Just look at the last 3 years that tried to force people to take a needle. Lefties are the most disgusting scum in the world because they try to force shit. So yeah, if you're denying that that's reality, that when you're rich, a rich man, famous man, or influential man, that gold diggers don't let you do that, then I don't know, you're not that experienced then.
He thinks is great for the country and what's fair for the country. But the fact that I was able to terminate Roe v. Wade after 50 years of trying, they worked for 50 years. I've never seen anything like it. They worked, and I was so honored to have done it. We are in a very good negotiating position right now, only because of what I was able to do. And remember this, again, you talk about radicalism. people that will kill a baby in the 9th month or the 8th month or the 7th month or after the baby is born, they're the radicals, not the pro-life.
Exactly. Exactly.
Stamp
Yeah.
approval.
Chance, though, because you did not answer whether or not you'd sign a federal abortion ban or how many weeks into pregnancy you believe abortion should be banned.
Yeah, but I've
Can you
given
answer either
I've
of those
given you
tonight?
the answer probably 4 times.
Dude, your
already.
guy
I'm looking. I'm
can't even
looking at
answer
a solution that's going
what
to
his
work.
name
Very
is.
complex issue for the country. You have people on both sides of an issue, but we are now in a very strong position. Pro-life people are in a strong position to make a deal that's going to be good and going to be satisfactory for them. If you weren't able to get rid of, you wouldn't even be having a discussion if you weren't able to get rid of Roe v. Wade, which put pro-life in a dead position, a horrible position. They could kill the baby at any time they wanted to, but we did something that nobody thought was doable. And other Republican presidents, and others, by the way, they wanted to get it out. They also wanted to bring it back to the states, but bringing it back to the states is a less important issue
But that's why
than
it's
the
the
issue
question
that we
about
just
a
talked
federal
about.
abortion ban. You
Well,
did not say yes or no to that.
It
You did
depends
not say how many
it depends
weeks.
what the deal is. Lindsey Graham's
You did not say
a
how
good
many
man.
weeks.
He's got an idea, and a lot of other people have an idea. And I look at all the
And a
different
lot of people
ideas,
will
and
be curious what
I'll
your
make the right
idea is
decision.
on that. President Trump, we've got more questions to come for you tonight.
I'll make
We'll be
the right
right back
decision for the
in just a moment.
Huh? Just waiting for her. Yeah, waiting for her to come back. Void of thought. Yes. Who would name themselves that? Such a bad name. That's basically saying I'm stupid without saying it. You know what I mean? I have no thoughts. I only get what CNN feeds me. And that's convenient because I'm a lazy motherfucker. You know. I'm lazy mentally. So I have CNN on prescription, you know. So I'm subscribed to them and they feed me what to think each and every day because I don't have the stamina, mental stamina to do investigations myself, research, you know, think for myself. You don't think it's weird that this man has been witch hunted for 7 years now, but he was loved before that shit? You don't think that's weird? You don't think that's weird? From day one, he was treated worse than Hitler. From day fucking one. Ah! Are you back?
No.
Okay. You know I'm back!
I'm back.
Hey, the update we just made in all our
The
data
fuck is
centers.
this? Commercial.
Our stores are
it's
having
your
a
past,
payment
I'm
issue.
sorry.
It's hot.
No, it's commercial
Customers
from
can't make payments.
CNN.
How long drove back every data center?
Hey, you know it doesn't have to be this way, right? Juniper's assurance
Disgusting
software
lefty
provides
commercials.
problems before
Yeah,
they
these are
become
fake lefty commercials. They turn you into a
Welcome back to CNN's Republican Presidential
NPC.
Town Hall with former President Donald Trump. President Trump, I'd like you to meet Jennifer Simmons. She is a stay-at-home mom and former town selectman from Wyndham. She's a Republican, and she voted for you in 2020. Jennifer, what's your question tonight?
Good evening, Mr. President. Title 42 is expected to expire tomorrow. Our southern border and now our northern border are experiencing record migration. We learned on May 2nd that the Biden administration plans on deploying 1,500 troops to the southern border. Do you agree with deploying troops to the border, and how will a Trump administration slow down the rate of migrants coming across all our borders?
Sure. A very fair question, especially since tomorrow is going to be a day of infamy. You're going to have tens of thousands of people pouring into our country.
I've seen
Even
the
the judge, you know, the
Yeah,
judge overruled
on
them
Twitter,
when they wanted
right?
to terminate it early. And he said, you know that you better extend this thing. The judge in Texas said, I hope you're going to extend this, but this is my policy that they're letting terminate because they lost in court. They wanted to go earlier. You're going to have millions of people pouring into our country right now at a level that nobody's ever seen before. These people are sick.
gonna destroy
Anybody that
America.
wants this to happen
That's
to
their
our country,
goal.
they're destroying our country, and this should not be allowed to happen. How they're not going to do a version of Title 42 or my Title 42, which was tough. If people are sick and have infectious diseases and lots of other problems, we don't want them being into our country. We have enough problems. Right?
Yeah, all of a sudden, the coof is not a big deal anymore.
No.
Isn't it today or tomorrow where the restrictions on that shit in
Yeah, I
the United
think so.
States goes
Yeah.
away?
How convenient, huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
Now,
You see?
we have problems like we've
We got
never
it all
had
planned
in the
for
history
you.
of our country.
But Mr. President,
our country
the
is
reason
being
it's ending,
destroyed.
The reason it's ending is because the health policy, the COVID era pandemic emergency, is coming to an end. That's what Title 42 was. You put it in place because
That's
of COVID.
true, but you
when
have-
it comes
Oh,
to
so
big
it was
questions on
also
what your immigration policy would look like if
connected
you
to the
are
coup.
reelected, some of your Republican rivals have criticized you for not fulfilling the promises that you made on the campaign trail, like finishing the border wall. So how did voters know that you would get those done if you're reelected?
I did finish the wall. I built a wall. I
You
built
didn't finish the
hundreds of miles of wall, and I finished it. And then
So
I
wait,
said,
now they're complaining that he didn't finish the wall.
Exactly,
First
right?
it was like, how dare you want a wall.
Yeah. Now they didn't finish it, and then he gets the blame for that. This is
Shouldn't you stick with what you thought previously about the wall?
Now we're changing.
It's so easy to see through these bitches.
said we have to build some more because there are areas like water going through a dam. There are some areas where a lot of people are coming. You close up one and they come into another. And we started another 100 miles of wall. In fact, I said to my people, if we start this and don't finish it, and then we had a rigged election, I'm sorry to say it.
The election was not rigged,
okay,
Mr.
good, I
President.
know.
You can't
I'm
keep
glad
saying
you
that
said
all
it.
night long.
And so
You cannot
then
keep saying
they
that the
took
election
over
was
and they
rigged.
decided not to finish it. It would have taken them.
Why not, motherfucker? You could say it for his whole term
Right.
that he was elected wrongly.
3 weeks. I built hundreds
Fucking
of miles
hypocrites.
of wall. If we didn't have it, it would be hard to believe it could be any worse. They're just letting people flow into our country. Look, a country has to have borders. There's never been anything like is happening to our country
You
right
built
now.
about 52 miles of new wall when you were in office,
Did it?
Mr. President. It wasn't the complete wall. One other thing that
And this is ridiculous. So I love it in a way.
And if it was a complete wall, they would complain about the colors
Yeah.
or the quality of
Yeah.
the wall. You know what I mean? Yeah, you completed the wall, but the quality.
Miles of new wall.
This is what she does. I built hundreds of miles. Some of the wall was up there, and it would be laying on the ground, rusted, rotten steel, rusted, rotten wood, a little. And what the radical left, crazy Democrats did, if there's a piece of wood laying down, they consider that a wall. I built 30-foot walls that go down 7 feet into the ground. If there was a little piece of wood sitting in the ground, they said, oh, he's not building a wall. We already had a wall. Because this is the game. They're a party of disinformation.
It's not a game, Mr. President. It's about 52 miles of new wall.
Absolutely
One other
true.
immigration policy you
I
had
built
when you
new
were in
wall.
office.
I built new wall.
52 miles
for
according
hundreds
to
of miles.
CBP, Mr.
What I did is I
President.
replaced other wall that was laying down, that was up and rotting in the ground for 30 years. Some of it was steel that you couldn't
Mr.
even
President,
see.
it was only about 52 miles of new wall, but moving on, another immigration
fuck,
policy you
man.
had was the zero tolerance immigration
is
policy
ridiculous.
that separated families at the border. If you are reelected, are you ruling out instituting that?
Well, when you have that policy, people don't come. If a family hears that they're going to be separated, they love their family. They don't come. So I know it sounds harsh, but if you remember they said I was building prisons for children. It turned out that it was Obama that was building
But
the
would you
prisons for the children.
re-implement that if you're reelected? Is
Well,
that what you're
here's
saying?
we
Obama.
have to save our country, all right? We
So it
can't
sounds like
afford.
that's a yes.
No. When you say to a family that if you come, we're going to break you up, they don't come. And we can't afford to have any more. Look at New York City. Look what's happening. They're living in Central Park in New York City. The city is being swamped. Los Angeles is being swamped. Iowa is being swamped. Our whole country is being destroyed. Millions of people are coming into our country. And you know what the number is going to be, in my opinion, by the end of the year? Not the 4 million that you hear and the 3 million. I think it's going to be 15 million people. And in these people, they have no idea where they come from. They come from 129 different countries so far. 120,
Mr.
not just
President,
the four that we
Just
talked
to
about.
put a button on that, it sounds like what you're saying is that you're not ruling out re-implementing that immigration policy. I want to get to another voter. Caitlin Boissonneau is a student here at St. Anselm College. She's a Republican. This will be the first election that she has voted in. What's your question for the president, Caitlin?
Hello, President Trump.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
The current administration has made it clear that we should continue to provide military equipment to Ukraine so that they can defend themselves. Do you support this decision, and how would you deal with the increasing threat posed by Vladimir Putin?
First of all, thank you very much. It's really nice. And it's an important question, so important, because we're giving away so much equipment. We don't have ammunition for ourselves right now. We don't have ammunition for ourselves. We're giving away so much. But here's the thing. I have to say it to start off. No longer matters. If I were president, this would have never happened. And even the Democrats admit that. Putin knew it would have never happened. And his pipeline would have never happened. A lot of things would have never happened.
With Biden.
But this would
Which
never
Democrats
happen.
say that,
And
Mr.
all those
President?
dead people, both
Carol.
Russian and Ukrainian, they wouldn't be dead today. And all those cities that are blown up and disintegrated right to the ground, that wouldn't have happened. Okay, now, here's the problem. We've given so far $171 billion. They've given, meaning European Union, which is approximately the same size altogether as our economy. They've given about 20. So we're at 170, let's say, and they're at 20. You don't have to know too much about history to realize, or geography, to realize that they're a little bit more affected than we are, okay? So they've got to put up a lot more money because they're taking advantage of us like every other country did. That's why I ended NAFTA and replaced it with the USMCA, Mexico.
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. President.
I was expecting
I
more.
should know, I don't know any Democrats who have said they don't believe Putin would have
Pushback.
invaded if you were president. But her question is, would you continue to give Ukraine money and weapons if you're elected? What's the answer?
I have a very good relationship with President Zelensky because, as you know, he backed me up with the phony impeachment hoax #1 when he said the president didn't do anything wrong. So
That
I
was when
happen
you
to
asked him
like.
for an
So I
investigation in
happen to
exchange
like.
for
Yeah, that's right. And I was totally exonerated, by the way. Just a waste of time and money.
You were impeached over that.
You were
But
impeached.
let's stay on topic here, Mr. President, because the question is, would you give Ukraine
I
weapons
was
and
impeached
funding?
by a crazy woman named Nancy Pelosi.
But the question
who
here is,
sympathized.
would you give Ukraine weapons and funding if you were
I would
elected?
sit down. Let me just put it a nicer way. If I'm president, I will have that war settled in one day, 24 hours.
How would you settle that war in one day?
Because I'll meet with Putin, I'll meet with Zelensky. They both have weaknesses and they both have strengths. And within 24 hours, that war will be settled. It'll be over. It'll be absolutely
Do you
over.
want Ukraine to win this war?
I don't think in terms of
What does that mean? Win? What the fuck does that mean? Don't you want both countries to stop warring?
Warring.
Right? Win. Do you think it's an NFL match or something? Shut up. Win. What the fuck does that mean? What do you count as winning for Ukraine? Blowing up the whole country of Russia or what? The fuck are you talking about, bitch?
winning and losing. I think in terms of getting it settled so we stop killing all these people and
Exactly.
breaking down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now,
Winning.
Can I just follow up on that? You
But
said
one
you
of the
don't
things
think in
you have
terms
to
of
do is
winning
you
and
have to get
losing.
you have
Mr.
to get
President, can I
Europe.
just follow up on that because that's a really important
Excuse me,
statement
let me
that you
just
just
follow
made
up.
there. Can you say if you want Ukraine or Russia to win this war?
Is it a
I want-
football match we're rooting
That's what
for?
I'm saying. Winning.
No one wins.
These
in a
people
war.
are fucking sick, man. And you're sick if you can't see it. You're a dumb, low IQ, sick person if you can't see it by now. Fuck, man.
I want everybody to stop dying. They're dying. Russians
Exactly.
and Ukrainians. I want them to stop dying.
And as you said,
And I'll have
what
that
does
done.
what counts
I'll
as
have-
winning in this war?
Yeah.
What's the
He
wi-
should say,
what's
what
the
do you mean by
prize?
winning?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That done in 24 hours. I'll have it done. You need the power of the presidency to do it.
But you won't say that you want Ukraine to win.
You
said
know
when
what I'll
you were
say?
in-
I'll
when you
say
were in
this.
office-
I want Europe to put up more money because they're in for 20 billion. We're in for 170, and
that's
they
not
should
an
be.
answer about who
And
should
they
win
should
the war.
equalize. They have plenty of money. They should equalize. I got with NATO.
But I'm
when I
asking
sat
you about
down, I got
Ukraine
them
right
to
now,
put up
Mr.
hundreds
President.
of billions of dollars that they weren't paying under Obama and Bush and all of these other presidents. That's why they're able to help them fight the war because of the money I got. But I
let's
want
talk about
Europe.
what's happening in
Excuse
Ukraine,
me.
Mr.
I want
President.
Europe to put up more money because they're laughing at us. They think we're a bunch of jerks. We're spending $170 billion for faraway land, and they're right next door to that land, and they're in for 20. I don't think so.
When it comes to what's happening there, when you were in office, you said that you respected President Putin. Do
Yeah,
you
I do.
still respect him today?
He made a tremendous mistake. He was a smart guy, you know. I remember I said he was smart, she was smart. They
What
said
was his
he
mistake?
said President Xi of China, right, is smart. Okay, 1.5 billion people. He's the ruler of 1.5 billion people. I said, yeah, he's a smart guy. How dare he say he's smart? Of course he's smart. They want you to say he's a stupid person. Okay, he's not a stupid person. He's very smart. He's very cunning. And Putin made a bad mistake, in my opinion.
What was his
It would have,
mistake?
his mistake was going in. He would have never gone in if I was president. We used to talk about it there.
Do you believe that he is a war criminal?
What?
Do you believe that Putin is a war criminal? He's responsible for the deaths of thousands of Ukrainian men and
I think
women
it's
and
something
civilians.
So are a lot of presidents,
Yeah,
former
do you
president.
forget about Bush?
Yeah, Obama,
but even worse, Bush, you know?
Huh?
That guy was joking about the whole weapons of mass destruction in one of those elite dinners. Is there any mass weapons of destruction over here? Over there? Fuckers.
It should be discussed later, because right now we have to get a war. If you say he's a war criminal, it's going to be a lot tougher to make a deal to get this thing stopped. Because if he's going to be a war criminal where people are going to go and grab him and execute him, he's going to fight a lot harder than he's fighting, you know, under the other circumstance. That's something to be discussed at a later date.
Isn't it
right now,
important
we
to
want
call
to
it
get
what
that
it
war
is?
settled. And I'm not talking about the money either. I'm talking about all the lives that are being, the number of people being killed in that war is far greater than you're hearing. When they blow up a city and those buildings come pouring down and they say 2 people were injured, no, hundreds and thousands of people are being killed, and we have to get that war settled.
We have more with former President Trump. Right after this, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with questions
You
from voters.
need
right
these
after that.
breaks.
Yeah.
You need these breaks.
Time to slip in.
Rewriting history in real time. Yeah, these fucking liars. What is this? Snoop Dogg.
Looking good, dog.
Hey, Snoop, how do you do all this stuff?
Sketches, baby. Shoes, man.
This guy never grows up.
Introducing Astapro Allergy,
All right.
steroid-free allergy relief that
Fuck,
starts
man.
working in 30 minutes, while other allergy sprays
How
take
long
hours.
is this commercial?
Now with
Right?
Astapro as allergy relief, you can Astapro and go.
Welcome back to CNN's Republican Presidential Town Hall with former President Trump. President Trump, we have a lot more voters' questions, I should note, in here in New Hampshire to get to, but I also want to talk about some of the other investigations that you're facing. We talked about others at the top, but one of those is the special counsel's investigation into classified documents that were
Sure.
found at Mar-a-Lago. Why did you take those documents with you when you left the White
I
House?
had every right to under the Presidential Records Act. You have the Presidential Records Act. I was there and I took what I took, and it gets declassified. Biden, on the other hand, he has 1,850 boxes. He had boxes sent to Chinatown, where they don't speak even English in that Chinatown we're talking about.
Can I got to stop you right there,
nobody talks about him, they
because
talk about us. Just so you understand, I had every right to do it. I didn't make a secret of it. You know, the boxes were stationed outside of the White House. People were taking pictures of the GSA of the various
I
people.
got to stop you right there,
that
though,
were
because the
moving.
Presidential Records Act, which is not well known to a lot of people, I read it. It does not say that you can take documents with you. It says actually that they
It
are the
says
property
it
of the
says
federal
you talk,
government
you
when
negotiate, you make a deal. It's not criminal, by the
It
way.
does not- it does
the
not say that you
Presidential
can
Records Act is
negotiate.
not criminal. And just so
It does
you
not
know,
say you can negotiate to
just
take
so
the
you-
documents with you.
can I tell you? Just so you understand, the Presidential Records Act is
Like
not
a debate.
criminal. I took the documents. I'm allowed to. You know who else took them? Obama took them. Nixon took them.
Obama did
Reagan
not take
took them.
documents.
Oh,
he did?
no, of
The
course he
difference- the
didn't.
difference here
He is
that-
Mr. Perfect.
Yeah, he would never.
He's Mr. Perfect. He talks so nice, you know. He's so fake and good.
He smiles so
Yeah.
nice.
Oh, he's so nice and fake.
The
Reagan
National
took
Archive
them.
says that President Obama
Even
did
Jimmy
not
Carter,
take
even Mike
documents.
Pence had
A
some
National
documents, and
Archive
he's a very
said-
honorable
Pence,
guy.
you referenced
But you know who
Biden.
took them more than anybody is Joe Biden. He has 1,800 boxes,
That's
and
not
nobody
accurate,
even
Mr.
knows where
President,
they
and you
are.
know that.
1,800. And
That
nobody
guy
talks
gets
about
away
it.
with
I
it
love
all.
how she says it's not correct, and you know that. And you know that.
Yeah.
A rough guy on us, and they.
It's like
I
she's
mean,
talking
they
to a
had
Mr.
child.
nobody.
President to actually set
Yeah, but she doesn't know this guy is way more intelligent
record
than
straight here.
she is.
They took documents, including President or Vice President Pence. When they realized they had documents, they turned them back over. The difference
They
is that
realized,
you waited to
oops,
turn
oh,
yours over,
fuck.
and it was
Excuse
a year
me.
and a half effort that
Yeah, I
included a
will give it
subpoena
back.
with those documents. One question about
It
what happened
included
when
a
you had
raid
those
on my
documents.
house. That's what it included.
But
They
you'd
didn't
gotten
raid.
you'd gotten a
They didn't
subpoena,
raid
and they had not
Biden's
been
house.
turned over yet.
They didn't raid Biden's house. You know what happened? They put him in the house. That's the one with the Corvette, where the documents were laying all over the floor.
think I've seen that.
Yeah, I know, I know.
And you know who happens to be at Mar-a-Lago? Secret Service, and they're phenomenal. I have Secret Service. He didn't have Secret Service. The other thing, the vice president cannot declassify. He didn't have the right to declassify. He has documents from when he was a senator, and even Democrat senators say, I can't believe it. No, I went by the Presidential Records Act,
That's not
and
what
we
the
were
Presidential
negotiating
Records
with
Act
NARA.
says. That's not what it says,
And
Mr.
NARA has
President.
red flagged a thing called the Constitution of the United States and the Bill of Rights because they consider them
Mr.
dangerous
President, that's
documents.
not what it
Those
says,
are
and
the people we're dealing with.
I should note that there is a special counsel investigating your document situation, also President Biden's document situation. When it comes to your
But he wasn't even a president. He was a vice president and also, before that, a senator, and he took documents. But that's okay. It's okay.
documents, did you ever show
Because he's
those
a
classified
demon.
documents to
It's
anyone?
okay.
Not really. I would have the right to. By the way, they were
What do you mean, not
declassified after.
really?
Not that I can think of. Let me just tell you, I have the absolute right to do whatever I want with them. I have the right. I was negotiating with NARA. Do you know what NARA is?
The National Archives.
Extremely
But you don't
left
negotiate
group
with
of
them.
people. Extremely left. And I was negotiating with
They're
them.
not
All of a
left,
sudden,
they're
they
bipartisan.
raided my house.
What?
They didn't raid the
Wow.
house of Joe Biden. They didn't raid Obama.
But Joe Biden didn't ignore a subpoena to get those documents back like
Joe
you
Biden
did. And so
took
that's the question.
1,850 boxes.
But that's the question that investigators have, I think, is why you held on to those documents when you knew.
Exactly. How sharp is this man?
Yeah, he is.
You know, you can ask him about completely different things in different occasions, and he nails shit. You know what I mean? And then he can go off on a bunch of new podcasts, you know, and learn their names and shit. Like, and he remembers people. He's like, he got a huge hard drive memory. You know what I mean? And Biden is like, you know, shakes hand with the air.
The federal government was seeking them and then had given you a subpoena to return
Are
them.
you ready? Are you ready? Can I talk?
Yeah, what's
You
the
mind?
answer?
Do you mind?
I would like you to answer the
Okay,
question.
it's very simple to
That's
answer.
why I asked it.
It's very simple to. You're a nasty person, I'll tell you.
Answer why
Very
you
simple.
held on to the documents.
I was negotiating, and we were talking to NARA, that's Washington, to bring whatever they want.
Nasty
They can have whatever they
person. I
want.
love it.
I think they should be teaching this hand gesture to kids. You know, I think you become more intelligent and a better person when you do this.
When we left Washington, we had the boxes lined up on the sidewalk outside for everybody. People are taking pictures of them. Everybody knew we were taking those boxes. And the GSA, the government service, the GSA was the one taking them. They brought them down to Mar-a-Lago. We were negotiating with NARA. All of a sudden, they raid our house. When Biden had his documents, he won't give back the 1,850 boxes. And you're going to find some real gems in there.
But it was
So
Biden
you
who
can't have
alerted
all
them that
these
he had
different
the
sets of-
documents.
all
The
these
National
different
Archives
sets of-
reached out to you to get your documents back. Why did you not turn them over when you got a subpoena
Because we were
asking for you to turn
negotiating
them
with
over?
them. We were negotiating with them as per the Presidential Records Act. We were negotiating with NARA.
That's not what the
Very nice
Presidential Records
people,
Act says. I've
but they
seen
got to
it.
love our Constitution a little bit more, and they shouldn't red flag it, by the way. Very nice people. We were negotiating with NARA, and that's what the Presidential Records Act says, because Richard Nixon, surprisingly, had problems, and he had a lot of problems dealing with NARA, and they ended up passing
that's why
legislation
they
called the
created the
Presidential
PRA.
Records Act, just for this kind of a thing. We were
My
dealing
last
with them.
question
We were
on this,
talking.
on
Excuse
this-
me.
Let him
Wait,
speak,
wait.
motherfucker.
No, he's spitting out truth.
You know, I just have to say, you know, people give him a lot of flack, like, why are you so nasty and, you know, this and that? Why can't you just be like the other president? Well, motherfuckers, from day one, people has been on his ass, attacking him constantly like this. It has never stopped, not even now.
Yeah.
You know? What do you think? You know? He has to be like this. The way they're treating him, what the fuck do you think? Do you think he can be like, oh, kind and shit?
We were talking to them. We would have done it, but all of a sudden they raided the house. Now, why hasn't the FBI raided Biden?
But I just explained to you
Why?
why.
No.
It's because they alerted the
1,850
government that they
okay.
had those documents and had them come and get the documents
Why
from
did
his
Biden-
house.
no, they
My
didn't
question
take
for you, though, when it comes to documents, do you still have any classified documents in your possession?
None of your business.
You ready?
Do you?
No, I don't have anything. I have no classified documents. And by the way, they become automatically declassified when I took them. But
No, you have
why?
to declassify
Let me
them.
ask you a question. Why is it that Biden had 9 boxes in Chinatown? and he gets a lot of money from China. Why is that? And
There
why,
is no
why
evidence
aren't
of that,
people?
Mr. President. No, you cannot
why
say
aren't
that. There
people
is no
bringing that
evidence
up?
of that, Mr.
And why don't they
President.
put this
What
guy
you're
Jack
referring
Smith
to
and his
is an
group of
office that he had.
thugs?
The debate.
Mr.
Why don't they
President.
put him in charge of that?
I need to stop you right there because there's no evidence of what you just said there. What you're referring to there is an office that he had after
Is she Biden's defense secretary or what?
Yeah, she knows everything.
Yeah.
Had a temporary office. But I want to ask you about another investigation
You're so
that you're
wrong.
facing.
You don't know the subject.
I do know the subject.
He had
and I
one
do
at
know the
University
facts,
of
Mr.
Pennsylvania,
President.
but he also had
I want to
9
move on
boxes
to another
in
investigation that
Chinatown.
you're facing, which is the
China.
one
She
that's
doesn't
happening
understand.
in Georgia, where they are investigating your efforts to overturn the election results in the state of Georgia.
I
And at the
love
center
that
of
people
that-
are
Let
laughing
me
at
finish
her.
my question.
Right.
At the center
With
of
him,
that is
Adam.
that call that you had with the Secretary of
Perfect
State,
call.
Brad Raffensperger. Given the fact that there are indictments expected to come in that case this summer, is that a call you would make again today?
Yeah, I called questioning the election. I thought it was a rigged election. I thought it had a lot of problems. I had I guess he's Secretary of State. I called. Listen to this. There are like 7 lawyers on the call, many of them from there. We're having a call. We're having a normal call. Nobody said, oh, gee, he shouldn't have said that. Why? If this call was bad, I questioned the election.
You
if
asked
this
him to
call
find
was
you
bad,
votes.
I didn't ask him to find anything. Let me
We've
just tell
heard
you,
the audio
if
tape.
I remember this call. It was he said there's so many fraudulent, you know what, out there. I just need you to find me 11,000 or something.
Yeah.
Because there's like hundreds of thousands of them. Just give me 11,000 and then I win. Something to that extent. That's what he's saying. He doesn't say like create them.
Yeah.
He's like, there's that many of them. Just give me. You don't need to, show me that all of them are fake. Just give me 11,000 of them that are fake, and I win.
Mr.
call
President,
was
there's an
bad.
audio of you asking him to
I
find you
said,
11,000
you owe
something
me votes because the election was rigged. That election was rigged. And if this call was bad, why didn't him and his lawyers hang up? How dare you say that? This was a perfect
Well, they were
phone
clearly
call.
concerned enough. They recorded the call, and I should note that, of
This
course,
was a call that was made to question the results of election. And when we can't make a call to question election results, then this country ought to just forget about it.
you weren't just questioning the election results.
I
You
was
were
questioning
asking
the
him to
election.
find you votes. And I should note that there is no evidence of fraud. There is no rigged
Shut up,
election in
bitch.
the state of Georgia. I want to get back to the audience, though, Mr. President, because those are false claims you're making about what happened in Georgia. Jordan Tullenberger is here. He's an undeclared voter from Hollis. He voted for you in 2020. Jordan, what is your question for President Trump tonight?
Thank you, Mr. Trump.
Thank you very much.
I'm 26. I'm a veteran. I help manage a private aviation company.
You want a job?
I'd love one, yeah.
I'm looking for somebody very good.
I'm not for mandates or government interference in private business, but I've
Right.
seen Republicans going after us like DeSantis after Disney.
Right.
What would you do as president to protect us from government interference?
Well, I'm the one that really wants to protect you. All of these fake investigations of me are about election interference. They think because I'm leading Biden by 11 points, 7 points, 9 points, I'm leading DeSanctimonious by a lot, by 40 points or 45 points. I think he ought to just relax and take it easy and think about the future, because right now his future is not looking so good. I will tell you this. We are really putting it to Biden, but he's putting it to himself because the economy stinks, inflation is horrible, and the border is a disaster. And by the way he got out of Afghanistan was the single most embarrassing moment in the history of our country.
But see, I don't think it's just planned. You know what I mean? Like, he wants them to think like, oh, it was a stupid move. No, he wanted to give whoever that was, the Taliban or whatever, $85 billion of equipment, you know? That's what they want to do. And then they're like, oh, he's dumb and demented, which he is. It's really the people behind him that made that call. Like, we want to give them $85 billion worth of equipment. And also, everybody right now knows that Biden is not the one running it.
Yeah.
It's the people behind him. So I think that's another thing that is fantastic with the whole Biden thing. Because now the normies get to know that, oh, there are people behind the president that can actually run shit. You know, so that's good.
Mr. President, I have one more question for you here tonight, and I think while we're in front of the voters here in New Hampshire, this is a fundamental question for you. You are running in the 2024 race. If you are the
He
Republican...
wants, hold on. What is that, Jimmy boy? He wants to protect you, but he was all for taking guns away and due process second. Very nice. But he just said that he don't want that. Like, he don't want to take... Father of the wax, yeah, he wants to protect... Listen, it's more complicated than that.
Yeah, it is. It is. Listen, I was also, questioning it a lot. And I like Trump. But I was like, hey, this doesn't feel good. But when you think of it, get it, explain, you see the consequences that could have been if he did not, is horrifying.
Yeah, because they own the media. He had to go along with the jab at that time. And even when he did, pretty much all of his supporters was like, yeah, I love him, but I don't support that shit. He got booed, and rightfully so. And I think he even understood that I'm going to get booed for saying this. But the guy had, it's not that easy. It's not that simple. During the coup, if he didn't get along with the jab, they would have just bombarded the whole world. Trump is against, a solution.
Yeah,
for
but
this
not
bullshit.
only this, if he didn't, how will you say,
Fast forward,
fast forward and accepted it and I don't know, produced it.
Yeah.
We would still be on lockdown.
Yeah, because they were saying that the plan was that we were going to be locked down for at least 2 or 3 years before this bullshit was there. And then the bargain would be, if you want to be out of your house, you have to take this. And then most likely a lot of people would have taken it.
They took a big risk doing it. Of
course.
Republican nominee, and you are in that 2024 race. Will you commit tonight to accepting the results of the 2024 election?
Yeah, if I think it's an honest election, absolutely, I would.
Will you commit to accepting the results of the election regardless of the outcome?
You want me to answer it again? If I think it's an honest election, I would be honored to. And right now, we are so far ahead of both Democrat and Republican. And you know what? If I don't win, this country is going to be in big trouble. It's so sad to see what's happening.
But no commitment there on the accepting the results regardless of the outcome.
If it's an honest election, correct, I will.
Okay, so not committing to accepting the 2024 election results or acknowledging what happened in 2020. President Trump,
I've seen memes of that, when he does that.
Thank you for coming here tonight. This is an important conversation with voters to hear and to have. Thank you to our audience and to our host, St. Anselm College.
Oh, hold on. There's a little after speech here with the crybabies of Communist Network.
Thank you very much, Caitlin. Good job. Thank you, Caitlin.
Standing ovation.
Thank you very much.
Standing ovation.
We love New Hampshire. Thank you, Woody. Good luck, Woody.
What was that?
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
You're looking there at St. Anselm College in Manchester, New Hampshire. Tonight's
What does he say there?
Hall,
You know?
moderated by Caitlin Collins, the first
Huh?
of
I
the
don't know.
2024 presidential campaign.
no
is
one
now in
knows?
the books.
What he says?
Yeah.
What Trump? I don't know.
Didn't you see?
I don't know.
From New York.
Oh, from Washington, it was an interesting night. Mr. Trump's first lie was told
I love it.
seconds into the night with his false familiar claim that the 2020 election was, quote, a rigged election. And the falsehoods kept coming fast and furious about the January 6th insurrection, about the threat to Vice President Pence, about Pence's ability to...
Yeah, he needs to come, brainwash.
Yeah.
Do a summary brainwash.
Quick.
You lied about this, you said that, blah, 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 blah.
to overturn the election, about COVID, about the economy, and more. He called a black law enforcement
Did he lie
officer
about
a thug.
COVID?
He said people here in
Oh,
Washington,
that's he's
D.C.
from
and
China.
Did he say
downtown
that?
don't. He called a black law enforcement officer a thug. Furious about the January 6th insurrection, about the threat to Vice President Pence, about Pence's ability to overturn the election, about COVID, about the economy, and more.
Oh, yeah, he's just full of lies, man. The whole audience, your own audience was agreeing with him.
He called a black law enforcement officer a thug.
Yeah, he's all the bad
yeah.
things you can come up with, man. He's the worst human being in the world,
Said
man.
people here in Washington, D.C.
No wonder these fucking fools, normies, no wonder why they hate Trump. They believe that shit that this fucking wimp to the right is saying.
Chinatown don't speak English. He attacked Caitlyn as a nasty woman because she
is.
He was trying to get him to answer a question. Perhaps most chillingly, the day after a 9-person jury of his peers in New York found him liable for sexual battery and defamation and ordered him to pay.
But okay, so what? Listen, the whole thing was about grape, right? It was about grape. Okay, I'm doing him now. The whole thing was about grape. They didn't find him guilty of grape. Okay, then they're like, "But you defamed her." Well, he wouldn't do that if you didn't accuse him of grape.
Of course,
motherfucker. You know what I mean? So, what's up? Hey, what's up, Ashraf?
What's up, Ashraf? How you doing?
What's up? Who's the dude with the glasses? I'm her new man.
Best guy in the world.
I'm her new man. What's up, Dual Helix?
Writer E. Jean Carroll, $5 million.
This is so fucking pathetic.
Dollars. He made fun of her account, of her sexual assault.
Oh, yes. He should make fun of that nutcase.
And many in the audience.
She had a dog or cat named Virginia. The fuck, man?
Yeah, and she apparently called a black dude an ape.
Her husband.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't any black dude. It was her husband.
Yeah, forget about that.
Making his first appearance tonight on this network since the 2016 election, he spoke with and took questions from New Hampshire Republican and undeclared voters who plan to take part in the GOP primary, and it took place just a day after, as Jake referenced, a Manhattan federal jury found him liable of sexually abusing and defaming writer E. Jean Carroll.
Okay.
Let's get right to it. With me here in studio, CNN's Audie Cornish, Abby Phillip, Dana Bash.
Yeah, now we gotta bash the fuck out of him.
King, Laura Coates, and Jamie Gangel. Let me start with
Bunch
you, Dana.
of miserable witches and wizards.
Yeah, it was nice to see him back, Trump, in the
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna have him on more after this, but I think they should because they need it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Truth is truth. He plays the game like all the rest of them do. I trust none of them. But you gotta have to, Jimmy boy. You know what I mean? You have no choice.
Yeah.
What good would you do with that mentality over there? Caitlyn Collins' new name is Snarky B.
Why?
Is that was she her name? Caitlyn, the interviewer, right? Right, left paradigm is bullshit. Well, I would
know
say.
what you mean.
What do you mean?
No, but the staging of the election and so. But I think that Trump is the exception. Listen, I also doubted. Sometimes I still am a bit like, could it be? But I need to have hope. I need to have.
Yeah, because it's over otherwise. It really is over. If Trump is with them, it's over.
Yeah.
You can just pack your bags and move into the prison cell, beforehand, Why waste time? Just pack your bags and move into a prison cell that you like, because that's where we're headed. We were very suspicious of Trump in the beginning.
Yeah, and we still talk about some things that we might, think is strange, or when, and we talk it through, we listen to people and we think for ourselves and see what makes sense.
Like
and
with
not.
the jab, that was, because when we heard it, it was like, dude, what the fuck is he saying there? Until we realized, okay, he's probably,
he has no choice.
He has reasons for the things he does. You know what I mean? But also, even though you can say the left and the right is bullshit, blah, 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 there is still two sides, though. We have a side that wants truth, and we have a side that loves the lie. The left. Yeah. They absolutely love the lie, and they can't let go. They can't stand truth. Peace out, Jay.
Peace out.
From Japan.
Sleep
He's
tight.
a Japanese guy now.
Yeah,
Japanese
nice.
guy. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's fun having Feline. I just have to train her to, regarding these fucking Agent Smith trolls, motherfuckers that join. You know what I mean?
a bit.
Yeah, but we're gonna see if we can have her on more. There are more than two sides to everything. Both sides lie all the time. Sure, but there are also the truth and the lie as well. Like, there are objective truths and then there is absolute lies. You know what I mean? And say what you want about Trump, but he has definitely, thrown the truth out there in many ways. Fake news, exposed the fake news, shit like that. He's just the only guy that can do it right now. And we just have to see what happens.
Yeah.
But it was nice, and hopefully we can do more of this.
We will.
Peace out, people.
Peace out. Take care.